We would like to welcome Coach Freeze to the podium. Again, raise your hand if you have questions. Make it visible so we can see it. He is ready to go to your questions. We'll start here on the left side in the fourth row.
Dan Peck, ESPN 106.7 in Auburn. Hey, Coach.
Hey.
A lot of quarterback options available in the transfer portal after last season. What was it about Jackson Arnold that made him the right guy?
It goes back to his high school days. Truthfully, for me, that's where it began. I, like everyone else, wanted him. Thought he was super talented, and there's a reason he was Gatorade Player of the Year and 5-star quarterback. And so you see all of that, and then you go in your mind to, okay, the lack of production at Oklahoma has to be, at least dealt with in your mind. And you go study all of that, and you find out the facts were they unfortunately had a lot of injuries, both offensive line and receiver, and I think that affected, Jackson's play. But you see his toughness all throughout the year, especially the Alabama game where he really just played one tough of a football game. And you combine that with the system I want to run, and does he have the skill set for that? And there's no question in my mind that he does. And that's why we went after Jackson.
With your system now, just kind of what are your expectations this season, and what do you really hope to do with it?
We're embracing the highest of expectations. It's time for us to start climbing that mountain and winning some of those games. There's no reason with the chemistry among our staff, the additions we've added to the roster, the 2 top 10 recruiting classes. Would you love to have one more year? Sure, but there is zero reason that our team, Lord willing, we stay healthy. We're expected to compete in every single football game, and we had some difficult breaks last year go against us. So it's our turn this year for them to bounce our way. And don't forget, adding back also not just to those pieces, but our special teams, adding Alex back, who was 100% in field goals my first year. And I think that's going to be another thing that helps us in those tight games.
You talk about the progression of the Freeze 4 from last season. Of course, guys like Cam, Bryce, Perry, now adding additional Eric Singleton with the wide receiver core. Just kind of what you're really expecting for them this year. Just kind of how have you seen these guys progress now?
I just need help figuring out how to get them all the ball. That's going to be the biggest challenge, because they're all so dang talented. And they all have different skill sets and do things a little bit better. And, if you're throwing an RPO to a one-on-one guy, you want Cam Coleman doing that, and you want Malcolm running this route, and Eric and Perry, and you add Horatio to it also. And, it's a very talented room. And you got to figure out a way, though, to get certain guys the ball that can make plays with it, and you got some in that room, whether it's Malcolm and Eric in the run game or screen game or whatever you have, or whether we got to design a shot here. And, obviously you design great shots if it's the right coverage, and you got to have you can't have the mentality of, hey, we got Cam Coleman, so we're taking this shot and we're going to throw a post into a one-high look. You don't do that. But you have to have those ready to be called, because you've got to give people like Cam and Perry, these big guys, the opportunity to go make those plays, and then figure out a way for those skill guys like the Bryce and Eric and Malcolm to do the things they do.
When you went into the transfer portal, you had a lot of options. What was it about Auburn that made that the right decision?
Yeah, I think early on, the coaches were immediately texting me as soon as I entered the portal, or as soon as that day opened up for the transfer portal. They were the first ones that texted me, communicated to me. Almost all the offensive coaches texted me early on, and not only that, I think a day later I hopped on a Zoom call with them all, and they kind of laid out everything for me, showed me my fit in their offense, our offensive depth, depth in the team in general, not just offense. They really prided on their defense, and housed a bunch of young guys last year, and all those guys are coming back this year. And I think that, with the depth that we have and the coaches we have and the scheme, the offensive scheme that fits me so well, I thought it was a perfect fit for me.
You said that this scheme was a good fit for you. This is your now 4th offensive scheme that you've had to deal with. Kind of what about this scheme is something that you feel like is a good fit, and what's been the most difficult adjustment in the transition to Auburn?
Yeah, the biggest thing Coach Freeze sold me on with the scheme was one, the RPO game, and two, the deep shots. And that's something that I've been doing a lot since high school, and even my first couple of years in college was huge in the RPOs and huge in the deep shots. Coach Freeze isn't scared to push the ball down the field, which I absolutely love. And, I thought that with my experience running the RPO game, I think it meshed well with what Coach Freeze was wanting to do with his offense.
Jackson, coming from Oklahoma to Auburn, which team and fan base is there more animosity towards, Texas or Alabama?
It's a great question. Honestly, OU Texas, there's a lot of hate, but I feel like the people here just cannot stand Alabama. It's unbelievable. And OU Texas is very similar. Honestly, it's not far off. I feel like those two rivalries are probably the two best rivalries in college football. But I feel like if you mention Alabama here, somebody will kind of look at you funny. It's pretty funny. We even have a rule in our facility, you can't wear red in our facility at all. If you do, you lose points and you have to do up downs and stuff. So.